What is up, you guys? Hopefully everybody is ready for the weekend. I know I am, guys. I'm actually going to spend time with my family. Probably go shopping or something. I don't really even know. My wife hasn't said, so we know we all follow that. So abide by the rules, I guess, guys. Yeah, first and foremost, guys, I actually want to touch bases on another Christina Randall video. Who killed the 4 Idaho students? Stalker, serial killer, or random? That's what she named this video. Christina Randall is actually her subscriber base is 1.3 million subscribers. She is a huge YouTuber, guys. I absolutely love her videos. Again, with 10 to Life and all the other ones, guys. So anyways, Moscow, Idaho, 4 college students that was brutally stabbed, brutally murdered. We don't have a murder weapon. We don't have a DNA trace. And we still don't have the murderer. And we don't even know if it's a girl nor a guy yet. So it's out there, guys. It is crazy. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the video.
This town has less than 26,000 people total, and about 11,500 people are enrolled to go to the University of Idaho. So the way I envision this town is basically half of the town, or almost half of the town, is college students. So that would be a blast for college-aged students, right? You go here, you go to the University of Idaho, and basically everywhere you go in this town, if you go to the grocery store, if you go to the convenience store, if you go to a bar, right? If you go to just about anywhere, almost half of the people in there are going to be your age, doing the things that you're doing and going to school. So it seems like an awesome place for college students. However, that other half, a little bit more than half, is locals, people that live in the town. Now, because this town has such a high percentage of college students, there are a lot of college housing, people that rent to students. And in this particular house, the one where the 911 call was dispatched to, there were 5 female students that were living in this home. And a lot of the times, one of the female students had her boyfriend that would stay there as well. Now, this home was very much known as a party home. Obviously, I mean, it's college house, nothing abnormal, but this was one that was known.
And it was known as a party house, yes. And the neighborhood was known for drugs. Even the private driver that drove them home that night actually said that told the cops that that neighborhood was known for drugs. He's picked up people before and known they had drugs on them. And he's dropped them off knowing what they was going to get from them. So it was well known for drugs anyways, guys. But, I mean, this house was the most sought out house off of campus too. So there you go. Could this have actually persuaded the murderer to actually go towards this house since it was the most sought out house off campus? I mean, that is a thought. Why not? There's woods behind it, guys. They're calling it a Bundy style killing. Therefore, this person probably actually stalked the girls. And the girls will go out back actually in bathing suits and everything else and lay on the back patio. The house is all back behind there, and every one of them is going to see the girls. That's it. And that's 100% being real. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Where people would come over and hang out, people would walk in and out of. It was nothing for, a few of the roommates to hear loud partying and laughing, late hours of the night, banging noises, the whole college scene when you have a house with 5 females in it that are living that life. However, when the investigators walked into this home after responding to the person being unconscious or passing out, and it has been later said, and so many things keep getting said and retracted and all of this stuff, but it was later said that somebody went to the house and went to go inside, saw a horrific scene, and they passed out, and then somebody called 911 because they saw the person that was unconscious or passed out. But when the investigators walked into the home, they saw a serious crime scene. 4 dead.
And what had happened is one of the students that was actually down in the first floor. See, what happened is they had a numeric code on the outside of the door. No one could get in that door, and they had a second door leading up to the second floor locked too. So the 2 that was in the first floor actually survived because the doors was locked. That's what actually was said, guys. But so the first person from the bottom, from first floor, walked upstairs and seen the guy outside the door and she seen it, and then she ran out the door and she passed out outside. So the roommate, her friend, goes outside, grabs the phone, finishes the phone call, and says that it was an unresponsive person, but she didn't see the horrific scene, so she just said he was unresponsive. So that's what happened there. Hopefully you guys caught all that stuff, guys. Anyways, let's jump right back to the video.
Students. I saw where the coroner said that this was the most horrific scene that she had ever seen, and that she was still processing what she saw weeks later.
Well, there was a lot of blood. It was a very sad scene for college students.
And that says something, especially when you're a coroner and that's literally what you deal with is deceased bodies. And she was still processing it. So let me tell you about the 4 victims. The first victim's name is 21-year-old Madison, who went by.
But before we go any further, remember the coroner lady that just spoke and said it was a horrific scene? She is actually a prosecuting attorney as well. So she's actually going with this guy as a lawyer, and his attorney going with this guy that actually is a convicted murderer and taking his side through this whole ordeal. The guy has nothing to do with the 4 college students, but he's stabbed his wife, he's threatened to kill her, and everything else. And that woman that just spoke, who was the coroner, had done the autopsies of these 4 girls, or the one guy and 3 girls. She's actually that guy's attorney that tried to kill his own wife. So I guess this girl is just a trick of all trades, guys. I'm talking about the coroner lady. So is this weird or is this weird? You have her being a coroner. She does autopsies, but yet she's an attorney as well? This doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Maddie. Now, Maddie was a senior marketing major at the University of Idaho, and she was on the dean's list every single year that she was at school. She had a lot of fun. She had a lot of friends, but she was really great at what she did. She also worked at a local restaurant there called the Mad Greek, and she was a server there, and she had a bright smile, and she was very good at what she did. And also, since she was studying in marketing, she was then in charge of managing the social media accounts for that restaurant, as kind of like, you know, she's already going in business or plans on going into business for marketing, so why not start with the restaurant she was working at? Now, Maddie's best friend, Kaylee, she was a senior in general studies, arts, and social sciences, and she was dedicated, outspoken, motivated, and full of life. She was known to turn even the most stressful day into a fun time by making others feel comfortable. And Maddie and Kaylee were best friends. They grew up together, they went to school together, high school together, and now we're both seniors in college together, roommating together. They were known by each other's families as actual sisters. I mean, they were very close, and they even went on family vacations together. They were inseparable. The third victim's name was Xana, and she was 20 years old. She was known as the life of the party, and she would fill any room with laughter. She was described by her friends as kind, loving, compassionate, serious about her goals, and focused towards her dreams. Now, Xana's boyfriend's name was Ethan, and he was the 4th victim, and he was also in the house staying with his girlfriend Xana this evening. He was 20 years old and majoring in recreation. He played basketball all through high school, and he was a triplet who considered his siblings his best friends. And as a matter of fact, since all this has happened, I mean, all of the families are obviously devastated and wanting answers like yesterday. But Ethan, being a triplet, his mother has said multiple times that his 2 siblings, you know, the 3 of them in the mama's womb together, literally were together all the time, forever, are really having a hard time about this. And I have heard situations like this when you have twins and one of them passes and the other one just, so I'm hoping all the families can heal. Now let's go over some of the details real quick. I'm assuming a lot of you guys know about this case, but for those of y'all that don't know, we're gonna go over it. Now this was a 6-bedroom house where the students were living, and it was just off of the campus in the 1100 block of King Road. It was also about a mile away from the fraternity that Ethan belonged to. The 3 women, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee, all lived together at that home with the other 2 roommates, and Ethan was staying the night that night. Now, the other 2 roommates, okay, remember we said there's 5 roommates, 3 of them now are in this lump of the deceased, along with Ethan. The other 2 roommates did survive. The victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors, 2 on each floor. Investigators wouldn't say which victims were where, but they did say that the 911 call was made from inside the house on one of the surviving roommates' cell phones. The surviving roommates called friends to the house before calling 911 because they believed one of the victims on the 2nd floor had passed out and was not waking up. Multiple people there talked with the 911 dispatcher before the officers arrived. Xana and Ethan had been at a party at the Sigma Chi fraternity house.
So Ethan and Xana actually was on the 2nd floor. That actually was proven. And the other 2 was on the 3rd floor together. They were sleeping together. Guys, and it was said that they came home drunk as well. So, but they did have defensive wounds on them. So they did try to hold up, stand up to the knife and try to fight whoever off. But it said that Ethan was actually found outside the bedroom door on the 2nd floor. So makes you wonder what happened. Did the killer go upstairs and take care of them 2 first, then come back down, and maybe Ethan came out and so put up a fight, so he killed him and then killed her as well? I mean, there's so many things that we can speculate, but we will never know until the cops actually put together this 3D image they're going to do with this house and put it all together with blood splatter. They could tell who was stabbed first, how many times, and how far the knife went in. That's what they actually have went on to say. So all of us is just waiting for someone to be this killer to be caught and took off the streets and put away forever, guys, and throw away the key of that person. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
House. And they returned home at about 1:45 a.m. on Sunday, and Kaylee and Madison were at the Corner Club bar before stopping at a downtown food truck on the way home. The food truck has video footage of them ordering their food where a man can be seen possibly watching them.
Haley Gonzalez in the white hoodie and her friend Madison Mogan were at a popular food truck near the campus.
I would like the carbonara.
Look, one man appears to be watching them. The time, 1:30 a.m. After ordering, Maddie sees a friend and embraces him. When their food comes, Kaylee takes a short video to post on social media, and they walk off together. Look, the man gestures towards them and then heads in the same direction. It's believed police know who he is.
Now, this man that was seen possibly watching them was a rumor that was going around, and people were like, oh my gosh, it's that guy, it's that guy. Since then, that guy has been cleared. And spoiler alert, I don't think it was that guy either, but you got to stay to the end to know what I think. The 2 girls used a private party to get a ride home from the food truck, and then they arrived at the house at around 1:56 a.m., according to the investigators. The 2 surviving roommates had been out that night, but they were not actually together. The police have said that both of them were home by around 1 o'clock on Sunday, and they would have been in the house at the time of the attack. They were unharmed and didn't wake up until late Sunday morning, and both of their bedrooms were on the 1st floor. So you're following me, right? The 2 girls, the roommates that survived, were on the 1st floor. The attacks for the other 4 were 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The county coroner has said that the 4 victims were stabbed to death with a large knife that has even been called a hunter's knife. It's been called a Rambo knife, like a big aggressive knife. Autopsies confirmed that all 4 victims died from multiple stab wounds and that they were all likely asleep when the attacks started. Some victims showed defensive wounds. None of the victims showed any signs of SA.
So then they went to high schools together. Then they started looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together. And in the end, they died together in the same room, in the same bed. And it's
And guys, I've actually went on the forward to other videos to say that I actually talked to professors about what a killer uses their knife for, and it's their knife is basically like a sex tool. That's basically what a killer that uses a knife uses their knife for. Every thrust means something. And the last thrust is usually the kill thrust, and it's basically like the killer getting off on that last stab. That's what the professors actually described. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
it's a shame.
Multiple calls are made from Kaylee and Maddie's cell phones between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. to a male who did not answer. A sister of Kaylee said the calls were made to an individual named Jack, who is a ex-boyfriend. She said her sister was known for frequently making late night phone calls, or some of us like to call them drunk calls, drunk texts. You know, when you're in the middle of the night and you just want to talk to your ex-boyfriend so bad, you just blow him up, and then he doesn't answer, and then you tell your friend, oh my gosh, you call him. You see if he answers from your phone. That's what it seems like that situation was. Now, the University of Idaho told people to stay away from the area and shelter in place at 2:07 p.m.
And the phone calls make sense, guys. Look, we all know that whenever we have a girlfriend or we have, you know, somebody we want to call, if one person doesn't answer, you always tell the other person, hey, call and see if they answer for you because they've answered before you. I'm sure we've all done that, and that's actually what it sounds like to me too, guys. Anyways, let's jump right to the video.
That day as the police department investigated a homicide. About 90 minutes later, the university tweeted that the shelter in place was lifted, but called for Moscow residents to remain vigilant. Police have given very little information about the possible motives for the killings, but law enforcement have repeatedly said that they believe it to be a targeted attack. Now, they've declined to give any further information, and a lot of people are upset, even the 4 students' family members. Now, something strange about this, it seems like there's a lot of rumors that the investigators have messed this case up or did the wrong thing, that this small little town, the investigators were not equipped to handle this type of thing, and they were stomping all over evidence, and people were going in and out of the house, and then they allowed everybody in the town basically to clear out for Thanksgiving week, and it was just a mess. I don't know. I think that they have somebody or somebody's in mind. And the Idaho investigative team just released that they are seeking any information about a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra that was in the area of the crime scene during the early morning hours of November 13th. Stock images of the vehicle have been put out there for the public, and they are now trying to figure out who was driving this car, because after it seems like they were looking at surveillance footage or photos, that is the only car that is not accounted for. And I know that a lot of you guys want to know what I think about the case. Kaylee allegedly had told somebody 2 months prior to this that she had a stalker. And I believe it. I do believe it. These were, pretty girls that posted themselves all over TikTok and social media. And it's a small town. And this is what's so scary about social media, y'all. And I know that a lot of us are protective of our smaller children, but the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, y'all got to be, pay attention to this too. It just sucks that it has to be this way. But if you looked at the girls, Maddie and Kaylee's TikToks, it showed them dancing, doing things that they should be able to do at their age. It showed them in their house. It showed plenty of videos of them, in their home. And they also worked in the town. And Kaylee worked.
Guys, and I'm going to actually press this. Whenever you do a video in your house, record in one room, stay in one room. If you're going to record in your front room, record in your front room. Don't go to different rooms of your house, guys. Just don't, because that's showing too much of your house. We have Google Earth where we can look up anybody and show enough anyways, guys. So why would you want to put yourself on TikTok where you sit at daily, where you sleep at daily? You see what I'm saying? So record yourself in one room and one room only, guys. And preferably with a green screen behind you or something. That way no one can see your surroundings and what you have. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Worked at a local restaurant. I believe, especially with that being such a large number of college students and, almost 50-50, more like 60-40% locals, and then that large percentage of college students, I believe that it's possible that Kaylee or maybe even Maddie had a stalker. I mean, it is a very small town. It's very easy to sneak around probably and find out where these people and girls live, especially when you see where all the fraternity houses.
Well, she said she had a stalker, guys. She actually told her professor she had a stalker. And they can't find out who this stalker is. They can't. They've tried. And they can't figure it out. So not enough information was said, guys. And a lot of times we're afraid to say information to people. Don't be afraid. If you have a stalker, say everything you know about that person. That way, if something was to happen, they know who that person is. They know where to go. They know how to question that person. 100%. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Houses are. I do not believe it was somebody just traveling through the town and did a random attack. I mean, I definitely believe it was random in a way, but I also believe it was somebody that is in the town and is still in that town. And that is so scary and creepy. I mean, you guys, if you don't remember the Golden State Killer, and you can go back and watch the video that I did on that if you don't remember. But this was a man that committed different crimes and he was a serial killer over decades. He was actually an investigator that would work on the crimes afterwards, like a real live horror movie. So you just never know. But
Wow. Guys, I'm going to have to go actually visit that case because I didn't know anything about it. Can you imagine that? Being an investigator, and then you actually do harm to people, you kill people, and then you actually go investigate the crime scene, and you can wipe away everything you've ever done. That's what this guy did. I'm actually going to have to go visit that because it actually sounds very interesting, guys, and I'll bring you guys that video as well. Anyways, guys, let's jump back to the video.
definitely think it was somebody that is in that town and they are still there watching all of this. And I think they came in that sliding glass door. A lot of people said that they probably kept their doors locked, or they did, or they didn't. I just don't think they did. I think they all came in late from drinking. I think that they probably went into their rooms, and I think this guy figured that this was his time. And I do believe it was a guy, and I believe it was one guy. I believe he came into that sliding glass door, probably didn't know which way to go to the room, may have accidentally went into the room where Xana and Ethan was, and maybe they woke up, maybe one of them was still awake, and he had to attack, or felt like he had to, and he killed them, and then he went upstairs looking for the girls, or one of the girls. And I saw an investigator talk about the crime of incel, and man, it made so much sense to me.
I'm not ruling out the incel factor, that is involuntary celibacy, and that is kind of a subculture within our country of mostly younger men who feel they're not dating the kind of women they would like to date. And while most of them, the vast majority, are not violent, some do have violent ideation, and they do want to carry out threats and actually take actions against people. Is it possible they saw the young women here as Stacy's, that's the nickname for attractive women, or the young man Ethan as a Chad? That's something that I know the profilers and behavioralists are looking into, all the online footprints of those type people. Or could it be a sexual sadist?
It's the first time that I started looking at this case. I just had this gut feeling that it was one person, like an awkward, person that probably had a crush on one of the girls. This was before I knew about the stalker situation with Kaylee. Probably had a crush on one of them, went into...
And guys, I'm going to pause right there as well, because now I'm going to provide updates to this, and I have all the way through the video, but the back door was unlocked. It was left open. It was unlocked. That's where the killer actually entered the house through the second floor. So yes, that's where they came in at. The killer came in at. Now, whether or not they went upstairs first or done away with the two on the second floor first, we don't know that yet. All we know is Ethan was actually found outside the room on the second floor, brutally murdered. So yeah, I mean, and then there's rumors going on about how they used the third story balcony to come down, because there was like blood prints on the wood. I have a video of that as well on my channel, guys. There's all kinds of stuff. But what is very weird about this is one person stabs and kills 4 people without the 2 on the first floor hearing anything. If they're asleep or not, guys, I just don't see that happening. I think there's more than one person involved in this, plain and simple, and I'm just going to stick to that story. because one person's not going to stab 4 people and kill them and not nobody ever hear anything or see anything or anything, guys. Anyways, that's my opinion, guys. Let's jump right back to the video.
To the house and was looking for her and ended up taking out other people on the way. It was just too brutal. And I think that the person may have had intentions, even though there was no SA, I think maybe they had intentions to do SA. This is, you guys, I have no proof for any of this. This is just my theory as of now, because I know a lot of you guys keep asking me, what do I think? Right now, this is what I think. It could change if new information comes out. And I can just envision this man in this situation. It could be a woman, it could be, but this is my opinion. Looking at the young girls, finding out maybe one of their names, if it's Kaylee, because she works at this restaurant, it's a small town. Looking her up on social media and being turned down for whatever reason and going in that house that probably, with everybody out drinking, it was probably unlocked, and killing 4 people. Now, when you see these photos, and I know a lot of you guys have seen them, you guys have been emailing them to me, there is one picture of the house, you guys. This is your trigger warning for blood. If you don't want to see blood or something that looks like blood, that's red and liquidy, skip to this minute right here. But there's a photo of the house, and this is right where Ethan and Xana the bedroom was. And it's like blood is dripping from the inside of the house down the wall. The cops have not said that this is blood yet because they're still doing their testing and their DNA, which seems like it's taking a really long time. And maybe they're just keeping it all on hush because they have a suspect, even though they're saying that they don't. I mean, they are not bound to come out to the media and tell us when they have a suspect. Even if they say they don't, they could be saying that because they do. You know what I mean? So we don't know. And I got a feeling that they do, somebody. But you think about how much blood had to be in that room for it to seep through the floor, through the walling, and drip down the outside. That brings me back to what the coroner said about how they're still trying to process it. Whoever did this, whoa. Now, there has been a lot of chatter about the 2 roommates that survived the attack, and they were on that first level or the bottom level or the first floor. To me, it doesn't seem like a 3-story house. It seems like a 3-level house. But anyways, a lot of people feel like there's no way they couldn't have heard anything, but to me, it makes sense. I mean, it's 3 levels. There might have been TVs playing that's muffling the noise, white noise machines, alcohol involved. People are sleeping harder. They allegedly said that they went in and locked their door. Maybe the person did come down to that level and they put their hand on the doorknob and they saw that it was locked and they just kept going. When you're living in a house too, a college house where people are yelling, hooping, hollering, and laughing all the time, even if you hear a scream in your sleep, that people may not get, woken up by it. I know when we had our oldest son at home, that kid or young man could sleep through anything. Me, on the other hand, I mean, literally, if a pin drops, I'm wide awake. I mean, if the cat meows, I'm like sitting up in bed, like wide awake. But like kids that age, they can sleep through anything. And the other craziest thing about this is the people that live in that community know that there is still a killer loose in their community. It could be the person delivering their mail. It could be their preacher. It could be their school teacher. It could be the guy bagging the groceries at their grocery store. They have no idea who it is. That's creepy. It's even said that a lot of students have left the school. They're not finishing out like the year or their semester or anything there. And I don't blame them. If my kid went there, I'd definitely be like, come on home, baby. Especially with a town that small. You're not talking about like an Atlanta, Georgia, or a Miami where people are traveling in and out. This is a small, tight-knit community. There were a lot of rumors that went around about one of the neighbors that was doing like all of these interviews. And this neighbor has since come out and been like, I'll give a lie detector or a blood test or, whatever. And I hope that this person does. I hope that anybody does that needs to or feels like they should prove that they didn't have anything to do with this. But this is crazy. Absolutely terrifying. These kids were young adults, were just in their home sleeping. And they just recently started releasing the personal belongings in the house for the students. And me and one of my best friends was talking about how devastating that is. I mean, you think about as a parent, you move your child into college, you're all excited, you're getting their room together, you're happy for them, they finally made it, they're getting ready to have fun. This is the time of their lives. And you never expect that you're going to be picking up their things without them. Like, it's absolutely heartbreaking. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to leave the...
There you guys have it, guys. And look, the guy that they actually was saying was socially awkward actually did give up his DNA. It hasn't came back yet, guys. Just like in this house, there's tons of college students in this house. It was a party house, guys. They had a party every single night. It's said to 20, 30 people. You know how much DNA is actually in that house, on the carpets, whether they vomited from being drunk or whatever else it may be. A lot of DNA is in that house, guys. So how long is this going to take, guys? It's going on almost 4 weeks now, or actually it's going on a month now. And there's still no DNA. There's no killer. There's no knife. They did find the glove, though, and I don't know if they went on to say whether it was actually somebody's or not, but a detective did find the black glove in the backyard, guys. But so, was this killer actually a stalker? Was this killer a serial killer, or was it someone that the girls may have known, guys, and they was just ticked off at the girls, so they wanted to actually do bodily harm to somebody, or was it even meant to do bodily harm to these girls? We don't know that, and we won't know that until all this testing comes back, guys. But I can tell you one thing. As gruesome as this murder was, this killer has killed before. You don't go in, a killer doesn't go into a home their first time and kill 4 people and make it that gruesome, guys. They said there was blood splatter on the walls, guys. It just doesn't happen. We're dealing with a serial killer here. I am 100% positive of that. And hey, I may be wrong, but that's my opinion, guys. But anyways, go check out the channel. There's more where that came from, guys. But anyways, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated. Your boy Deuce is out. Thank you, guys.